Thank you all for being here today to honor Staff Sergeant Jesse Sherrill and to celebrate his life. It is my distinct honor and privilege to speak about Jesse on behalf of Nicole, Peyton, and Quinn, Rick and Jean, the entire Sherrill family, and the men and women of the New Hampshire State Police. Excuse me. One need only take a look around to see how much Jesse meant to so many. Jesse's love for his community, for his fellow troopers, and most importantly, for his family, is on display today for the world to see as we gather to recognize and honor him, as we're able to share and relive stories with one another about the incredible man that he was. And as we thank his amazing family for blessing us with him, we are all better for having known him and for having his presence in our lives. Jesse was born on August 2nd, 1977, and was raised in Barrington, New Hampshire. He attended Barrington Elementary and Middle Schools and graduated from Dover High School. He played baseball and football. He was a great athlete and loved to spend time in the gym. He loved weekend snowmobiling with his father, Rick, and his brother, Corey. He also loved spending time playing wiffle ball in the backyard. When it came time to the things Jesse loved to do most in this world, they always focused around family. After high school, Jesse attended Westfield State College and graduated with a degree in criminal justice. He was soon hired by the Hooksett Police Department in 2001. And soon after that, Jesse and I would meet for the first time in January of 2002 on day one of the 127th New Hampshire Police Academy. It only took a few weeks for Jesse's love of healthy competition to show through. The entire class learned quickly that behind those kind eyes and genuine smile and gritted teeth was the hardest, most determined worker in the room who refused to ever say the words, "I can't." Jesse had a 400-pound bench press at the time, so he was the epitome of physical strength. But while his physical strength made him good, his God-given ability to be heartstrong made him great. Jesse was strong from the inside out. Jesse was hired by the New Hampshire State Police on December 13th, 2002. After going through our process, a portion of his background investigation noted, applicant Sherrill appears to be in top physical condition. Test scores on physical agility from the 127th Police Academy confirm this. Applicant Sherrill scored high praise from his peers, from the staff, and from the cadre at the Police Academy. Upon joining the division, Jesse was assigned to Troop F in Twin Mountain, and he was then assigned to Patrol 1, our northernmost patrol, and made a home in Colebrook. This was a change from his home and work in southern New Hampshire, but he immediately took a liking to the type of law enforcement service he provided to his community up north, and it certainly didn't take long for his community to begin liking him. It was there in Colebrook that he would be introduced to the love of his life, Nicole. They would become best friends. They would fall in love. They would marry and have two beautiful children together, Peyton and Quinn. Their love for family would bring them all back to where it started for Jesse in Barrington, New Hampshire. Jesse accepted a transfer to Troop A in June of 2014, where he would begin making his impact on our Seacoast community as a mentor, as a coach, and as a leader within his community. Jesse's career flourished with the New Hampshire State Police, as did his family life. After having spent time in patrol with the Attorney General's Drug Task Force, Jesse then accepted promotions to Sergeant and then Staff Sergeant at Troop A. Positions with more responsibility and oversight. However, he always ensured that his family came first. Jesse always loved spending time at home, on the diamond, and at dance on a daily basis before heading into his shift. Jesse took advantage of every minute of every day and never took 1 second for granted. Jesse's love for coaching dates back to 1993, and he was always excited to give back to his community, especially when it included his family. He gave full effort all the time. And this is part of the reason that Nicole often refers to him as Superman. One of Jesse's best friends said that he would work extra to support his family around Peyton's dance and Quinn's baseball schedules to ensure that he never missed a thing. This is why he was described as Superman by so many. He was able to squeeze all 24 hours out of every day. Every day. Jesse'd get up in the morning, see the kids and Nicole off to school, go to work, come home, have dinner, go to practice, see the kids to bed, lay down for a few hours before putting his state police uniform back on. He simply lived life to the fullest and took advantage of every opportunity that was presented to him. As I reviewed Jesse's personnel file, one email from a citizen caught my eye. It was from 2013 and involved a man that Jesse had stopped for speeding. The man had his young children in the car. In his complimentary letter, the gentleman stated, "Regrettably, I did not take the care at the time to take notice of the trooper's name and his badge number, as it would be great for him to read this. The traffic stop was handled in a very respectful and professional manner. The trooper asked for my information, and seeing that I had children in the car, he asked if they were buckled. I told him they were. He asked if I would roll down my window to confirm that they were. I happily obliged, and he saw they were both well secured. My 4-year-old son is infatuated with policeman's, and having no understanding of what was going on, hollered out hi to him and waved like he was a superhero or something. The trooper waved right back at my son, saying, "Hey, buddy, you going to get one last ski run in?" My son excitedly confirmed, to which the trooper replied, "That's great." Upon returning from the ski adventure, I asked my son what the best part of the day was, to which he replied, "Meeting that policeman's." Little did that young boy know he had just met Superman. In that situation, like so many others, Jesse was present. He was focused on what the right outcome for that situation should be. Something else I noticed while reviewing Jesse's file was that while he continuously received exceeding expectation ratings on his evaluations, his self-assessment rating was always meeting. He was humble. He was humble, yet every supervisor that ever worked for him viewed him as the best. One supervisor commented, "Troop F has been very fortunate to have Trooper Sherrill back in patrol as he continues to represent the troop, as well as the state police as a whole, in the image expected of a New Hampshire state trooper." As a goal in his evaluation, Jesse stated, "I want to continue to set the example for my troopers on my shift and ensure they have the necessary tools and knowledge to complete our mission safely." Jesse set the example every day for what a New Hampshire trooper should be. He was always the hardest worker in the room. His uniform was impeccable, and his mentoring ability was second to none. Troopers thrived under his supervision, and everyone wanted to work for him, and they wanted to work with him. These past 18 months have been some of the most difficult and challenging times that law enforcement has faced in our most recent history. And Jesse's strong leadership style continually set everyone up for success. His mindset of, when things go wrong, you get better, was there for all of us to see whenever Jesse was around. You could hear Jesse. You could see Jesse. But most importantly, you could feel Jesse. He was there with you, and you knew he would help you get through. Jesse simply excelled in all leadership roles, and he's exactly the type of mentor that our troopers want while on duty. However, his best mentoring of our troopers was on display outside of work. and how Jesse lived his life every single day. And he lived those by two simple words: family first. Jesse's love for his family is unparalleled. Well, Jesse was known as the consummate professional, a true trooper's trooper, and a mentor to our next generation of leaders. He was first and foremost a family man. Within the New Hampshire State Police, we often talk about the need in being good within the four walls of your home so that you can be good when you go to work. In order to be successful at work, you must ensure that your support system at home is in good order. That's what life is: family. And that's what made Jesse so good at his job. He never compromised what was important to him. Not for a position with the division, not for a promotion, not for anything. In fact, Jesse recently withdrew from a promotion due to a family health concern, and he did it without question or compromise. Jesse believed in always placing his focus on his family. He loved being a father to Peyton and Quinn, and he loved coaching within his community. Jesse believed in using competitive athletics to teach kids how to contribute to the success or failure of a team through individual adversity. Jesse loved to teach these life lessons through sports, and he was the very best when they were down. Jesse was known for his saying of, "There's a lot of game left." His words could be heard from the dugout when things weren't going as planned. He believed that when things don't go your way, you get better. When things go wrong, you get stronger. He made you believe. You believed because you could hear him, you could see him, and you could feel him. Jesse was strong. Jesse was strong from the inside out. As I look out at this large crowd filled with Jesse's troopers, our partners in law enforcement, and our families, I am reminded of the challenges we are facing, and I ask myself, what would Jesse think? What would he say? But most importantly, what would he do? Simply put, I think Jesse would tell us all there's a lot of game left. There's a lot of game left. And then he'd go to work. He'd be the first to show up. He'd be the last to leave. We would all hear him. We would all see him. And we would all feel him. He'd bring his intensity, and he would carry us all through. Jesse would tell his troopers to persevere, and he'd expect you to. As I look to Jesse's family, all I can say is thank you. Thank you for allowing us to all be part of Jesse's life. Nicole, Peyton, and Quinn, thank you for sharing him with us. We are all better people for having known him. And to Peyton and to Quinn, you are both destined to do amazing things in this world. And always know that your dad is so very proud of you. He has left a lasting legacy with each of us, and for that, we are forever grateful to you.